For a few months, in late 2021, I was staying at my grandparents' old house. They had passed away a while ago, and my family hadn't sold the place yet. It was kind of used as a vacation house for the time being. But for those few months, I was in between apartments and needed somewhere to stay. So it worked out. I wasn't too happy about it, because it was a really old and janky place. Not having to pay rent was nice though. Anyway, this happened 2 months into my time there. I had gotten home from work at 6 o'clock, parking in the driveway and heading to the mailbox to collect my mail when one of the neighbors came up to me. She was an elderly woman. I had talked to a few times before, just about my grandparents and my situation and whatnot. Through our few conversations, I also happened to mention that I was staying at the house alone temporarily, and that's why she came up to talk to me. She remembered me saying a couple of days ago that it was just me staying there. But earlier in the day, while she was walking round the neighborhood, she saw someone moving round behind the windows inside the house. When she also noticed my car wasn't there, it made her worry because she was pretty sure I was at work. I thanked her for letting me know. But honestly, I didn't fully take in what she said. She didn't seem super confident in what she saw. And I mean, that would be crazy. Why would anyone be inside my grandparents' old house? Still, walking inside, I did a quick check around for any signs someone might have broken in or moved anything. But I saw nothing. Not even a shoe print on the ground. It definitely was a weird and unsettling way to start my night. But I hoped it really was nothing to be worried about. I made dinner and watched TV in the living room for the rest of the night. It was a Friday, so I was off the next 2 days. I must have stayed up past 1 a.m. During that time, I'd basically forgotten about the whole thing my neighbor had told me. It kind of just felt like a regular night, with it being very late though. I shut off the TV and headed upstairs. Now, when I'd gotten home earlier, the sun was still lighting up most of the house. So I didn't turn most of the lights on, which made the whole house very dark now that it was in the middle of the night. The only lights I turned on were the ones in the bedroom when I changed out of my work clothes. I headed up the creaky wooden stairs to the second floor, then down the hallway and into the bedroom. This was a really old room, just like the rest of the house, but it had 2 sections. There was the bed area with, well, a bed. And then there was a small hallway with a closet and one of those dated vanity desks built into the wall. On the other side of that was a large bathroom with a separate shower, bathtub, and way too many mirrors. Kind of creeped me out, to be honest. Anyway, I used the bathroom, shutting off the lights in there as I went back into the bed area, turning off those lights as well. However, right away, I realized something was off. There was still a light on. I turned around, and after a second, I felt my heart start racing a little bit. That vanity closet hallway between the bed and the bathroom had a light on. To give context on why this was so disturbing, it was one of those single old-fashioned light bulbs attached to the SHL, with a thin string hanging down that you had to pull to turn it on and off. For that reason, I never once used that light. Not to mention, it was nearly impossible to accidentally turn it on or off, because it was only managed by pulling the string. I walked up to the hallway and stared at it. The fuzzy bluish hue of the light was barely coming through the fogged-up glass on the bulb. Thing had to be decades old. I carefully reached up and pulled the string. The amount of force it took to actually get it to click off was deceptive. Definitely wouldn't just click on its own. The more I looked into it, the more nervous I got, especially when my neighbor's comment about seeing someone inside here crept back into mind. Looking back, I should have left right then and there, just to be safe. But I think it's a lot easier than people give credit for to let yourself believe it's all some kind of fluke. Like, what if the light really did just turn on its own? It was old as hell. Maybe it wasn't working right. And again, the chances someone broke into this old place of all things were so extraordinarily small that I really felt I needed real proof if I were to believe it, let alone call 911 over it. I mean, a single light being on in the house that I never ever used was creepy and unsettling. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I didn't feel it was enough to really freak out over ... Though I definitely wasn't going to get good sleep anytime soon. I turned the lights in my bedroom back on, but stayed in there with the door closed, figuring I'd sit in bed on my phone until I got tired again. Over the next 30 minutes, I kept catching myself looking at the door and at the hallway to the bathroom, like out of paranoia. Even after all the excuses I made, my gut still felt like something was off about all this. I just didn't know what to do about it. I'd already checked the whole house earlier, but I figured maybe I should double-check. I got up and opened the door to the main upstairs hallway. The house was eerily quiet. I took a few steps through the hallway to the spare bedroom and opened the door. It still had my grandparents' old bed and furniture in it, along with a bunch of boxes stacked along the wall. I got a really unsettling feeling being in that room. I know the whole point was to actually search the house, but as soon as I stepped foot in there, my body just locked up. My heart rate was picking up, getting faster and faster, like an alarm was going off inside me, telling me to get the hell out of that room. And then I saw something. A shape sticking out under the covers on top of the bed. As I looked at it more, I slowly was able to make out that it was a body. Someone was in the bed, under the covers. The immediate panic set in as I tried to back up, but it caused me to stumble a bit, making a loud creak on the wooden floors. Instantly. The person sat up in the bed so fast that he surely wasn't sleeping and was probably listening to my every move already. It was a man, his eyes piercing into mine, but that was all I could see before booking it out of the room. His footsteps followed close behind. I didn't stop until I got out of the house and ran down the road to the neighbor's doorstep. The same one that I talked to earlier. She let me in and got help on the way. I was thankful that officers arrived relatively quickly, but the intruder must have run out right away, because he was already gone. In the weeks that followed, my parents helped to do an inventory check on everything they knew was in the house, or at least all the valuables, and nothing was missing. Or, if anything was, it wasn't valuable. Which begs the question, why was he there? A lot of people think he just knew that nobody lived in the house, and so he was squatting in it, living in it without anyone knowing. But what terrifies me, and makes me think that might not be the case, is that I'd been there for 2 months. So he had to know I was there. Was there a chance he'd been hiding, living there with me that whole time, without me being aware? And what would have happened had I not found him and run away? I moved out immediately and haven't been back to the house since. I probably never will.